guys.
It's not your fault. Don't worry about it,
No.
Brad. All right, call the regular meeting of the Nome Common Council for Monday, June 9th, 2025 to order. The time is 7:24. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll to establish a quorum?
Councilmember Henderson. Here. Councilmember Johnson. Here. Councilmember Martinson.
Here.
Councilmember Green.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Councilmember Piscoya. Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Moving on to the approval of agenda. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Councilmember Green, Councilmember Martinson. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes, just want to make a comment. I think we're missing the citizen comments portion on the agenda.
There's one part for citizen comments.
Okay,
It's, yes,
at the end.
second page, yeah, before we get to utility manager's report.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion to approve the agenda passes. Moving on to the approval of minutes. We have our May 27, 2025 combined BOE culmination and regular meeting. Motion to approve those minutes.
Make the motion. Second.
Councilmember Green, Councilmember Martinson, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. The minutes are approved. Moving on to communications at page 16 in the packet. Letter from DOT talking about their construction schedule. And they do have two projects that are in the works in the Nome area that are expected to be active. And that's Nome Common, milepost 61, 66, and 79 permanent repairs. And I'm assuming these are like bridge areas. And then Sepulveda Drive upgrade. And they do have, there's more detail here in the packet showing the locations of these permanent repairs, which include reconstruction and drainage improvements. And then the second one, Sepulveda Drive, is the redesign and rehabilitation. Including drainage, intersections, and ADA improvements, as well as utilities. And you can see that that goes all the way from Bering there next to Bonanza Fuel, our Anvil City station. It goes all the way out to in front of past Alaska Airlines and in front of many of the Bering Air buildings.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
I got a thing from Nikki that there's no sound. I don't know if that was old or new. Nikki, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I just wanted to make
It's
sure.
just a chat sheet
Yep.
on there.
Yep. Okay, then move on April 17th, Port Commission minutes. And a recommendation from the Port Commission that the budget presented be approved. So that'll bring us to unfinished business. The first item we have is ordinance 25-06-01. Mr. Clerk, would you read this for the second time by title only?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir.
on this one, our attorney asked us to take no action on this one because of the public notice. So instead of removing it, we're just going to do a no action on this one tonight.
There's a discrepancy on notice, so we don't
Okay.
want to do it because of that discrepancy.
Okay, so why don't, is there a motion to table this to the next meeting?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Henderson, Councilmember Green, roll call, please.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Martinson,
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Thank you. So ordinance 25-06-01, having to do with amending our zoning maps and code, will be brought back to the agenda at the next meeting or if there are other timing requirements for public notice, it may be so adjusted. Item B through item H are all the first readings of the budgets. Or I'm sorry, is this second reading of the amendments?
Those amendments were made.
Second reading.
Yeah, they've been,
So this is the final.
yes,
proposed
it's the final.
budget with all the
Yeah.
changes.
And then the NSEDC, we have that in there too, showing you, where we're utilizing that and drawing that money over. So we're in good shape on that.
So the general fund budget?
Yes.
is final?
Nikki, can you clarify, please?
Yes, the amendment
Yep.
is in the memo that I wrote, which council needs to request a motion to make the changes from that memo. We couldn't change the first reading documents behind
that's
the memo, but once you
That
make
was
the
it.
motion,
Okay,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. So that means we can't do exactly what I was thinking. And Nikki, do you happen to, off the top of your head, okay, so we have a general fund amendment.
one is general fund for operating and for capital projects.
Okay, thank you. Port operating. It's this one. All right. So let's go ahead and deal then with ordinance 25-06-01. Mr. Clerk, would you read that? This will be for the second time.
Isn't that the one we just tabled?
I'm sorry, 02, I'm sorry.
Or two.
Sorry.
Thank you for the correction.
Ordinance 25-06-02, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome General Fund municipal budget and exercising the power to assess and authorize the levy of a general property tax.
Thank you. The time is now 7:31, and the council is going to stand in recess to take public testimony on this ordinance. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address this piece of business this evening? So we'd invite you to the podium. All right, not seeing anybody stepping forward. We will return to regular session. The time is now 7:32. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 25-06-02?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martinson, Councilmember Green. At page 45 of the packet is a memorandum from the city finance director to the mayor, to the council and manager. And there are some changes with new information that, and potentially from work sessions, whatever it was, that need to be adopted in the prior to the formal motion. These changes total $980,642.96 in reductions. There are reductions in the insurance premiums for 70 or so thousand. There was a change in hours for a position that resulted in a change. There was a slight change as well to professional services and machinery in IT. Reduction in travel and training for the clerk. Small reduction of $1,350 in police investigations. 22,500 in planning and engineering. And this was reducing the scope of the engineering services and contractual planner. Public Works, $500 operating supplies, pool, $450 operating supplies, museum, part-time museum assistant, and was a change and increasing the museum aid during the summer months. The library had a minor change to several line items there: travel, audio, advertising, and operating supplies. And under non-departmental, the biggest change is a $700,000 reduction to the school appropriation that was approved by resolution 250506. Also a transfer out to replenish the vehicle equipment fund was changed to a $100,000 contribution. And fund balance appropriation of $51,770.49 as part of the balancing of these changes. There also was, on the revenue side, it was a reduction in real property and personal property and sales tax, an increase in remote sellers tax, some licensing and cemetery fees, and fund balance appropriation of $200,000. So on both the revenue side and the expense side, again, the total of these are $980,642.96. And I'd ask for a motion to adopt the changes as recommended in the June 5, 2025 Finance Director's memo.
We make a motion first, and then we can ask questions.
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Henderson and Member Green. Now discussion on the amendment. Councilmember Henderson.
Just to clarify, under the revenue side for the sales tax, the $1,047,000 reduction in revenue. This is, and we're doing this primarily because the former budget had 7% sales tax projected starting, I think, December 1st instead of January 1st. Nikki, can you hear me? And
Do you hear that, Nikki?
We reduced it back down to a 1% increase starting January 1, 2026. It's the same memo we talked about last week's work session. The only difference is I removed the preschool and the nest funding because they're part of that resolution later in your package.
right, so was the
NSEDC.
original budget was based on a 7% sales tax.
That's correct.
That's what-
Yeah, so it takes it back to 6.
Okay, the other question I have is regarding what happened to the 50,000 in additional funding we talked about last work session for the visitor center budget? Is it in here or did I miss it?
It's in there. I did not put 150. I've looked at the reduced hours and I'll work with the chamber. But when I looked at reducing the hours that they've recommended, it does not take as much money to do that.
Because there's no change from the last work session. It's 100,000. At
Yes,
least in this budget. right here.
yeah, but then I
There's
think
no
we got
correction. Hold on
30.
just a second.
yeah.
No correction in the amendment. Right?
Nikki, did we put, I thought we took that from 50 to 30.
There's only $100,000 in funding for the chamber. I know that Dan had looked at some funding through the CDS funds, and then I think that was changed around.
So it's still 100.
It's still at 100.
Yeah, because when I did my calculations, I went from 150 to 130 because that would cover the hours that they were asking for. You know, the visitors center being open.
The council wants to add $30,000 more to the memo as part of the.
That would-
motion.
Yeah, because that will cover the visitor center hours for the person running
And
them.
that was reviewed with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, based on what they asked, what they put in there for the contract, I backed into it and looked at the hours, and we can do that at 1:30 based on that.
The president is in the
Yeah.
audience here. So
But based on the calculations, we can do it.
is that acceptable? I'm putting you on the spot here, Kenny.
Do we normally do this? No.
Well, because there wasn't any changes
But we
made.
had a
Hold on
public
just a
hearing.
second, Cameron. We did, at the work session.
Don't get me angry.
Okay, yeah, one person at a
I'm not
time,
angry.
please.
I'm
Yeah,
not
for
angry. I'm
for
just
for
asking
clarification,
questions,
please
guys. I
allow
really
the council
appreciate
member
you.
to speak, okay?
Excuse me?
Please speak. You have the floor.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you ask me now?
I asked the president of the Chamber of Commerce to ask if his input, if the 30,000 was adequate. Because at the last work session, it was 50,000. Do you remember?
I was not there.
Okay. So that, because it was agreed at 50,000. And in this budget with the amendments, there's no change. That's all. That's why we got-
With the calculation, we're supposed to have 30,000.
In the Chamber of Commerce, if the 30,000 was adequate, because at the last meeting, 50,000 was discussed and agreed to by both staff and Chamber of Commerce. That's why. Okay.
But I went back and looked at what,
Question?
That is not. I was asking about the process. I guess it was point of order.
What was the process?
We just had a public hearing on the budget and we asked for public comments.
And now we're
No one
just,
offered it
and so now we're discussing the memorandum.
amongst ourselves, yes.
Correct. And this now, it will either vote this up or down and then go on to the main budget.
you can amend that if you want to go from, because the intention was to go to the 30, which I backed into it to say it would support the expenses and the persons at
So
the
you
visitor
meant to
center.
have 130 in here.
Yes.
And it's just-
Now, we can amend that right now and say, even if I, for 30,000, move. That contribution to fund balance, I could, take that to, Nikki, I'm looking at, on the back sheet, fund balance contribution, 51,770, 40.
That was in our 2% increase in sales tax, we're projecting a savings.
Yeah.
So in order to add funds back this year, we need to adjust the fund balance appropriation, which is set at 200,543.20. If we're going to 230 or 250.
If you want to do that, we'll go ahead and do it.
we need to change to that number.
But that 130 will cover it. I've checked like 3 times on the hours on the visitor center.
And
So
you
we-
checked with the Chamber of Commerce staff and they agreed, is that correct?
Well, it's going to be in the contract. I've still not negotiated the contract. But based on our
That's what I was asking the
calculations,
president.
that's what they requested.
Right. And again, the only reason I was asking is because at the last meeting, it was agreed to by the Chamber of Commerce, by city staff, by the council, that 150,000 was going to be adequate. Now you're proposing 130, and I don't think that's even been discussed with the Chamber of Commerce staff or the president, right? The Chamber of Commerce president.
I have not met with
The
them.
president is present, and that's why I was asking him if the reduction from 150 to 130 was going to be adequate to fund the operations.
Yeah.
of the visitor center for a year.
Then I thought we had the opportunity to go back. So if that's,
So that's what.
we
I
can
just
make
wanna
that
sure
change.
that-
Absolutely. So we can make that change right now and if that's what, if that's what was said, no problem.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend it, the visitor center, Chamber of Commerce sponsorship for funding from 100,000 to
150.
From 100 to 150?
130.
Oh, 130, thank you.
Yeah. So it's at 150, Nikki. So we need to do the, fund balance contribution to what?
We're gonna increase the fund balance appropriation to $250,543.20.
Okay.
I didn't hear a second.
Okay, and on the backside, so that's on the fund balance appropriation on the front under revenue. is going from 200, 543.20 to 230, 543.20.
Correct.
And then we need to have, as part of the council member's motion, on the visitors or the department side, visitor center, and the chamber is going from, is being increased by $30,000. And this is the budget, and the contract is an annual contract, and it sounds like that's to be negotiated and potentially will change and be brought to us at a different time. But so your motion essentially is putting $30,000 more into revenue from fund balance and expending under visitor center chamber an additional $30,000.
Yes, based on a conversation at the work session.
Yes, okay. And that, we did have the second on, I believe?
No.
We didn't, okay.
But I will second that.
You will second that, okay. All right, thank you for keeping track. So this is the amendment to the amendment to make the $30,000 change in both revenue and expenses by Councilmember Henderson and Councilmember Martinson. Is there further discussion on the amendment to the amendment? If not, roll call, please.
Councilmember Pistoia.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. The amendment to the amendment carries. So now that brings us back to the amendment as amended. Are there any questions further on that, our discussion before we have a vote on that?
We can make that amendment still, all right? Did we make that amendment? First
We
amendment?
just voted.
The amendment was just voted, so it is now on.
It is now part
The
of.
original amendment?
The original.
Yes, yeah. Okay, if there are no further questions on which is the Nikki's memo plus 30K, a roll call please on that.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistoia.
Yes.
Thank you. The amendment as amended carries. We're now back to the main motion, the main item, which is ordinance 25-06-02 as amended, potentially. Is there further discussion relative to the budget package as a whole? If not, a roll call, please, on its adoption.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistoia.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is just a question to determine how to proceed. With regard to the other more general ordinances that are in the packet, items B through E, does anybody want to pull one of those out, or can we take those as a package? Okay, we'll take that as a package. Mr. Clerk, would you read by title ordinances 25-06-03, 04, 05, and 06?
25-06-03, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome School Debt Service Fund budget. Ordinance 25-06-04, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 25-06-05, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome Capital Projects Fund budget. And ordinance 25-06-06, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome Construction Capital Projects Fund budget.
Thank you. The council stand in recess. The time is 7:49 to take public testimony on these budget items. The first one in school debt service simply recognizes revenue from the state and a fund balance appropriation to pay off school bonds, which are nearing completion. These are a bond matures in October of this year, and then there's very little debt that's still left with regard to this school debt. The special revenue fund budget, and this has to do with grants that are received from various sources or other earnings from contributions and E91 surcharge. This includes the NSCDC, $250,000, a FEMA recovery for $2.9 million, and those are the big items that are there. The whole detail of it is available, has been available at the website, or can be reached by contacting the clerk's office. Ordinance 250605 is the capital projects fund budget. And this budget here also recognizes various grant awards and transfer in from the vehicle replacement fund for the EMS multi-purpose hose truck. And a CAT 160 initial down payment has been made, and this is $94,000 is included for the annual payment. Also, an equipment purchase, a EX31 excavator for public works. And the construction capital fund budget doesn't have anything going on in it really at this point in time. There's a $500 EDC grant that has been, $500 that needs to be taken from another fund here to balance the that budget. And that brings us to the port. So does anybody have any questions from the audience in this public hearing? Feel free to come forward and state your name for the record. Happy to hear from you. Okay, not getting any indication. We will come back then. And is there a motion to adopt ordinances 25-06-03, -04, -05, and -06?
Make that motion. I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Martinson. Councilmember Green. Discussion? A roll call, please.
Are we doing a roll call for each?
No, this is for all of those
Oh,
ordinances
okay.
together. Would be the same vote recorded for all of them.
Councilmember Martinson,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. Ordinances 25-06-03 through 06 inclusive have been approved. That brings us to ordinance 25-06-07. Mr. Clerk, would you read that by title?
Ordinance 25-06-07, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome, Port of Nome Fund Budget.
Thank you. On page 98 of your packet is a memorandum from the finance director. And in that, there are some modifications, small, having to do with insurance, spread out between the various operating sectors within the port, totaling $4,182.77. Is there a motion to amend this budget by that amount?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. Councilmember Martinson. Is there any further discussion? A roll call, please, on the amendment.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistoia,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. So the amendment has
One
carried.
second. Councilmember Martinson.
I'm sorry. Long pause. All right, thank you. Getting all votes recorded, that amendment passes. So we're now at ordinance 25-06-07 as amended. Is there any discussion relative to the main ordinance? If not, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Pistoia,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinson,
Yes.
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. That ordinance has been approved by the council. Moving on then to ordinance 25-06-08. Mr. Clerk, would you read this ordinance by title?
Ordinance 25-06-08, an ordinance to establish, approve, and adopt the fiscal year 2026 City of Nome, Port of Nome Capital Projects Fund Budget.
Thank you. The council stand in recess to take public testimony on this ordinance. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address it this evening? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Martinson, Councilmember Green. There is again a amendment requested through the finance director. This for $254,000, which places a placeholder for a grant application of $250,000 to the U.S. Marine Highway Grant Program, as well as then allocating the grant match. There's also a decrease then of the contribution to the fund balance, and which the port will still contribute to the fund balance from operations, $223,000. Not discussion on the amendment. May we please have a roll call?
I've got a question.
Sure.
On that 10,400,000, is that part of the state funded port funds, or is that the core?
State money,
Part of the
correct?
state? Is that part of the fund that was deposited to Northland for generating interest income? A totally separate funding? Okay. That's my question.
I believe those funds are still sitting with the state on a
The reason I was
reimbursement.
asking the question, what the
amount of that interest income that we've earned to date on those funds. That's why I was wondering if we could earn, what was the amount of interest income that we have earned on the port funds, since I think they were deposited when they were received from the Corps and then deposited into Northrop, and we are generating interest income.
Correct, that hasn't been incorporated into the F-26 budget,
So it's not in this budget
No,
at
it'll be a
all.
closeout on the F-25 budget to date.
Okay,
We don't know when the Corps is gonna pull it, so
Okay.
it's difficult to even project.
okay.
And those earnings are obligated to just go right back into the port project.
Right,
So,
okay, thank you.
all right, are we ready for a roll call
We need to make a
on
motion.
something? I'm not sure what
We
we
gotta I'll make the motion on the amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Miranda.
Thank you. Councilmember Martinson, Councilmember Piscoya on the amendment. Any discussion there? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya.
Yes.
Thank you. The amendment passes. Is there, now we're back to the main motion on 250608. Is there any further discussion on that matter? Thank you. Hearing none, a roll call, please, on the main motion.
Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Thank you. So that ordinance passes. That completes our unfinished business. Now moving on to new business. The first item proposed is ordinance 250609. Mr. Clerk, would you read that for the first time?
Ordinance 25-06-09, an ordinance amending the Nome Code of Ordinances, section 17.10.010, sales tax to provide for a 6% sales tax levy subject to approval by the qualified voters of the city of Nome.
Thank you. So as noted in the title, this would amend or propose to amend, change our tax from 5 to 6 year round as a replacement to the previously repealed seasonal sales tax that fluctuated. Is there a motion to pass this ordinance on to second reading, public hearing, and final passage?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilmember Green, Councilmember Martinson. Is there any further discussion? Right, not hearing. Let's have a roll call, please, on moving this on to the next meeting for second reading.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Piscoya.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
That motion passes. The next item that we have, I'm going to recommend that this be moved to the next meeting because part of the NSEDC process requires us to have a public hearing before we actually allocate these funds. And we need to advertise that public hearing. So this is not unfinished. It's just a new business item, and we'll move this to the next meeting. Is there any question on that? Okay. Then there's resolution 25-06-02. Mr. Clerk, will you read this by title?
Resolution 25-06-02, a resolution approving a letter of agreement between the City of Nome and the City of Nome Employees Association modifying the job description and salary for the domestic violence and sexual assault advocate position.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 25-06-02?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Councilmember Miller, Councilmember Green. Is there any discussion? Or Mr. Manager, do you have anything further to add?
Got a question.
Please.
For this job description, I'm not too sure why we approved job description in the past, have we?
We just attached it basically.
Okay.
We only did that just so you would have what they do,
Okay.
so I've asked them to start doing that.
So it's just asking us to
That's-
change the range.
That's correct.
Okay.
Which normally a letter of agreement would not come up on this unless it was a material change. But I think that the intent of management is to keep the council and the public involved, aware of the efforts that are being made in this area to improve our relationship and advocacy with those that are victims of domestic violence claims in our community.
And the reason I brought it up was because nowhere in this mentions like working with the child advocacy center on these.
Would be part of an agreement. I've asked to, when we had a meeting, I've asked to meet with them. I've met with the police department, but we'll have to establish an agreement. So I want to sit down with them, and I've not been invited to a meeting yet, but they say they're going to set that up so I can sit down with them, and we'll have to have some sort of a memorandum of agreement for that. But that would be internal.
We had one, yes.
Yeah, but it's not bad. It's gone. It actually timed out. We've not had one in a year and a half.
And because if anybody wants page 2, there was a copying glitch, I think, and when this job description was placed in the packet, at least on my print.
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment.
Yes, Councilmember.
Does Chief Crockett happen to be in the audience?
No, he isn't.
No.
Can I request from the city manager that when we have something pertaining to the police department on our agenda, that we ask for the chief to be there for possibly some further questions or clarification?
Sure.
He's responding absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because in the past, we've, different chiefs have been more active in attending city council meetings, which has always been, in my mind, pretty helpful. And then we sometimes have chiefs that don't attend them. And so, especially when it's an agenda item, it seems like it could be helpful for everybody to have him present for it. And then the other comment I had was, or question I had was, which I'd ask the chief, because I'm not sure that the city manager has, had time to fully understand, the process regarding investigating sexual assaults and domestic violence and sexual assaults. But the question I had is whether they're still working with a SART team with a third party victim advocate as well.
Does that he's asking about the SART. There's a SART team thing with Norton Sound, and whether the police department is still working with them. I guess I'm assuming that they are, because I've seen bills come through where we're paying for those
They are.
services.
Not the CAC at this time.
Right.
That's what I'm working on now.
So, Councilmember, I think we believe that it is, but let's get confirmation of that can be relayed to you.
Yeah, just for a little bit of history, the SART team was comprised, a couple of decades ago of several agencies in town that would get together on a regular basis to work towards a common goal of protecting victims. And I'm supportive of this resolution that that's in front of us. But I also want to point out that this is a police force employee, and they have a certain role, and I'm supportive of that role, and that we're taking a more active thing, and I like the model that the chief has chosen to place that, upon that role.
but there is a position of a third party, and a reason for a third party advocate that is separate from the police department to assist with the victim, because the person that's working in this position is part of the police department. So tonight it's good to have also third party roles still involved in the process. And I'm pretty sure that they probably still are, but it'd be good to get clarification and understanding of that.
You still have third-party assistance. Now it's a matter of establishing and negotiating with the CAC folks.
And the other part of this had been the women's shelter had participated in that role. I understand from that there were some issues. I think primarily with staffing availability, and I had been told at one point in time that that relationship needed to be bolstered again. But attempts, there were prior attempts, and I need to talk with Lee to fill him in a little bit on that, because I think we should maybe take another run at that. Anything else, council member?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. All right, anybody, Councilmember Henderson?
Just to clarify, the purpose of this resolution is simply to approve the increase in the grade of the position.
Correct.
Okay, from 12 to 14.
On a permanent basis, otherwise this
Due to the
would,
additional responsibilities.
yeah, otherwise this would simply be signed, attached to the contract and rolled in the next time it comes up.
Thank you.
If there's no further questions or comments, I think might be ready for the vote. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll on adopting ordinance 25-06-02, please?
Councilmember Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistoia,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Thank you. That.
Councilmember Martinson.
Yes.
Okay. I need to look at you to make sure you're done talking. Thank you for that. Resolution is approved. That moves us on to citizen comments. Are there those that would like to address the council this evening?
Thank you, Nome Chamber of Commerce. So for pretty much most of the meetings that I can recall attending, there was a citizens comment period between communications and unfinished business. I see it's dropped out tonight, and I understand it's probably because you had so many public hearings scheduled for all them ordinances. It's tough to know exactly which of them to really talk about something with. I was going to do it in the citizens comments, so I kind of missed my opportunity to comment, trying to figure out what you're doing when next.
The ordinances actually call for it to be at the beginning of the meeting, so that will be changed for the next one.
Okay, great. Right, so I was simply going to advocate for the 150,000 when I saw it. It was still in the budget for 100. And as I understand what you just did, you just took it from 100 to 130. Unless I'm wrong and you took it from 130 to 150, but I'm just a little puzzled about what exactly happened there. Did you go from 1 to 130?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Everything else I was going to talk about got postponed, so I'll wait till later.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Are there others that would like to address the council? Seeing none, move on here to utility report, and I don't see a person back there. But I guess everything's going great. We have been able to fill the couple of positions that we had in the power plant. One of the line crew positions has been filled, and we're still looking for another temporary groundman for the summer. We still are in contact, working to try to get the machine up on the hill repaired. The first one that failed due to some maintenance issues, and that's still an insurance claim. But the EWT company, we had the agreement, did go bankrupt after the change in the administration and the feeling that there was not going to be a focus on renewables. However, that has been there was a company that came in that it took that company over, and there is at least two of the prior people that are there for continuity, and we'll expect that their maintenance people are up here. I believe it's the first week in, it's either the last week in June or the first week in July. Also then had a meeting with the Village of Solomon to see about the potential of some battery, or I'm sorry, not battery, but solar panel deployments within the community. And there will potentially be a couple targeted on some smaller facilities. But then we're looking at a way to aggregate that into one location under the utility, and that may ease in interconnectivity. So I appreciate the Village of Solomon and their ongoing dialogue with us. And we do have then the East 6th Avenue, Block 113, 114, as it's called, that inspectors are in town, and construction work should be beginning shortly. And I think that was the only thing that I had this evening. City Manager.
Just a couple things. I want to thank, if you didn't get to come out Saturday and see these kids cleaning up, man, they're excited when they're out there, and they're really excited when they want bicycles. But you'll see some of the information. You call, we haul. We had 139 calls. Residents to the Monofield, 118. Truckloads hauled, 60. You'll see we went from 23 truckloads, and this was from the actual pickup, to this last one to 43 truckloads. And I'm gonna tell you, folks worked really hard. The kids worked hard. The parents worked hard. So it was a good time for all. But you have on the back, and we're sending out who to thank. We had a number of folks, NJUS, NSEDC, Bering Sea, Bonanza Express, AC's, Napa, the elementary school. We had truck sitters, KICY, the Methodist Church, Nome Winter Sports, Bering Sea Lions Club, the Girl Scouts, sponsored by the Lions Club. And we had, and I want to thank a lot of our folks that worked on their own time for the city. They came out and volunteered and worked. And we had one truck that went down, and I've never seen people move so fast to get a hydraulic line changed out. But they got us back on the road. So please look at that. And I want to thank all of our team who went out and did that. It was a great time. And that's pretty impressive to see people come out and bring their kids that early. And when you look at clean up our town together, and that one of the Jeannie Ventris, great design. So if you don't have a shirt, I have extras. And it's a great looking shirt. So we would encourage you, if you want one, come up and we'll get you one. But it was an awesome time. Also, we're in the middle of a tabletop. We've got, gosh, I want to thank Megan, probably about 75, 100 people at least over at the Mini. And it's for an oil spill. And with the ports, we've got folks from all over this peninsula. I mean, so that's a great opportunity. It's very helpful to me to be able to meet the other administrators, the other towns and government. So that we are there with today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So we're doing that. And also the 3D house begins tomorrow. So we'll let you know more about that. I'm going to be interested to go out and watch that. So we'll get you some details when they stop pouring, just to see that process for the press, the media, to take a look at it. You need to do a camera and chronological and watch that thing. That'd be kind of cool. But we're excited about that. So we have been visited over the last week by several companies, private companies building other housing. We'll be bringing some things to you in the next 60 days of some other housing, workforce housing, which is great. So, we're loving it. We need housing bad. That's the top item when I go out. People say housing. That's number one. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there questions for the manager? Move on to council member comments then, please.
Councilmember Henderson,
No comments, thanks.
Councilmember Johnson,
I forgot to ask the city manager at the end of his thing, how are we doing on the outdoor basketball hoops?
I asked Chip about that. I'll have to get back with him. I think it was the next day, but I'll ask Chip and I'll send you something tomorrow.
Sounds great, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Councilmember Martinson,
I don't have anything else.
Councilmember Green,
No comments.
Councilmember Miller,
I would just like to bring up, looking at tribal partnerships and agreements formally again, and then also looking into a missing persons protocol. I think that would be really beneficial for our community and a good way to start off the tribal partnerships. But that's all I have.
If I might just answer one of that, I have interviewed some companies. Megan and I were talking to, when we went on the first day for the first missing person, the silver alert for the state does not work here. And it was, I think even the governor's office was shocked that it did not work because they tried several times. But it took hours for them to do that. We do not have, with the exception of social media, which is not acceptable in my book, there needs to be a higher level of contact. So I'm looking at a couple of companies that actually will gather data of cell phones, local phones, and then people can volunteer to be in the system where if you have a problem, it will go to your cell phones like the alerts to say this is what's happening. And it can happen within 5 minutes. So we're looking at that. It also can be used for advertisements of meetings. But today I was with some of the administrators around and I've asked them would they be interested in partnering. So we're talking about that also, but that's really going to help us get out to the public quick. Everybody's not looking at Facebook. So we need something that goes right to their phone. And we think we have found a solution that's not very expensive. So.
Thank you.
Just Megan wanted to say something about that.
Can I just help answer? We do have a missing person protocol from the NPD, and I can share that with you. It's on their website. And the other element is I've pushed out some public relations that was inspired by the Dialat Native Village of Sullivan on sharing it with our tribal partners so that we're encouraging people to share your location with your friends and family on your iPhone or with your escort so that if you're coming here from, our community to receive healthcare or otherwise, that we have a plan in place for safety. So we'll follow up with you on those things.
Our big issue on both were verifying information. We found on Facebook and even calls, people are sending in false information. They think they saw, and you got to verify that. When you get 100 of those in an hour, it's pretty hard to verify. So that's why we're looking at a more formal system versus social media. It's nice, but the verification, this one morning we had one police officer and she was doing the investigation for 2 hours. She did a great job with the information we got. was not good from a couple of sources. So, and it's unfortunate how that turned out. People have got to be upfront, forthright, and give us all the information upfront. And that's something we're looking into.
Thank you. Was there anything further? Okay.
Councilmember, go ahead.
I think I'll just echo what Councilmember Miller said about a government to government ordinance. I know we spoke about it before. I believe the tribes had reached out previously, but we still haven't heard back, so.
We've not, I've got Megan, we're working on that together. So to look at an MOA. So she's going to be establishing now the contacts to get us together to talk about. I mean, we've even talked about funding on roads and things. So I've got Megan working on that now. So we should see, and some were there today at the mini. So, I mean, I've not been approached since I've been here. So I put Megan in charge of setting that up. So
There may be a couple of different things going on this then, because I'm not aware of that part. But I did reach out to some of the tribal leaders to have a meeting with them, a 4-tribe meeting. I see I have a deal that will not open here as to when they had scheduled that, so I'll find out tomorrow.
Sorry, after.
Is that what?
It's Friday.
Oh, this Friday?
We're requesting Friday.
Oh, okay. Good enough. Well, do you know the time?
11 a.m. 11 a.m.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, I appreciate that. Sometimes the phone doesn't do everything it should. All right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to mayor's comments. A couple of things. That issue now, you're aware that there is a meeting coming up to which I have been invited, and I will be there, and I will be bringing the city manager along with me. So clear your calendar. Also the mention on search and rescue. I think kudos to everybody in town and our volunteer fire department for a couple of search and rescue items that they've worked on here recently. We had an elderly gentleman that got disoriented. He had dementia, and he did end up spending the night out at Gold Hill, despite efforts that had been made to search for him in town. And I did make a call to the governor's office to request the state to become involved a little before the 24 hours had run, which is when the state will get involved in it based on the totality of the situation. And we appreciate the efforts to find the gentleman, and thankfully at that time, based on his exposure, he was stable, and so I'm glad that he was found with the effort of all of our folks. Also aware of another person that had disappeared for a short period of time, and again, the search and rescue folks went out. It's just to thank them for their giving of their time and energy at times when others might be in bed and there is somebody that may need some help. I don't know what kind of fire was at Safety Sound today, but I'm seeing there was a fire out at Safety Sound that our fire department assisted with.
It's a brush fire, but no homes involved.
Okay. I want to say thank you to the council, the manager, the staff, Nikki, and everybody for extensive work on the budget. Some of these sessions happened while I was not in town. And for somebody that didn't participate in the meeting, I don't have any right to complain about what may have occurred. when we make adjustments to things, it's somewhere out of necessity, as this case is. And while we might be pinching our pennies at this point to make it through the this year, there's some groundwork there set, and I'm feel very optimistic that things are going to bounce back here, economically in our community. And one of the reasons people come here is because the vast variance of things that they can't find in other areas where they are at, including recreation, including cultural, including historical, including literacy. And so those programs that the city does provide, are valuable, and something that people, when they make choices to move to Nome, Alaska, that those things are included in their decisions. Tomorrow night, the university is holding a little public presentation. You have a representative from the Alaska Center of Energy and Power who is there, and from 6 to 7:30 in the Nagazrak UAF conference room, we'll be tracking some of the developments that are associated with mini reactors. And so learn a little bit more about that, about their safety, where the development stands today, and what it could mean for Alaska. So anybody that's interested in the nuclear micro reactor options or technology that's looming in our horizon, tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 at the Nagazrak Conference Center. And this does not show me that there's a Zoom or remote link, but might ask at the UAF tomorrow if you're looking for a link. And finally, I had the opportunity and honor to be in Anchorage last Tuesday, and met with Secretary of Energy, Mr. Wright, who was in Alaska for the Governor's Energy Conference. And got a, thanks to Governor Dunleavy, got a, Nome got its own few minutes with the Secretary while he was here. The Secretary did confirm something that kind of was going around that people weren't sure about, that he's technology agnostic, and that while there was some thought that renewables and some of those things were just going to go by the wayside with the new administration, they say that it's sometimes that's the best technology for some of the areas here, and that the department and the secretary are open-minded on that. So not to say that there can't be more wind, there can't be more solar. There is an effort that will be made in the U.S. to try for deeper drilling for geothermal energy. The Department of Energy is going to be putting down 4 wells in the U.S., 2 of which will be drilled in Alaska. So I said, well, we'll take one, and we'll see how that goes, where they're going to have it. But it's some interesting technology, and essentially they're drilling a little bit further down into the earth to an area where there is getting by any fracturing or anything else, just getting down deeper in the process. Made him aware of our port development and activity there, and the potential additional need for power, and also let him know that the community was being educated on the potential of a lower cost alternative with the microreactors that are under development here and soon will be under testing. So appreciate the governor's arranging, facilitating that meeting with the secretary, and thank the secretary for his time. And I think that's the extent of the comments here, other than, again, to, like others, thank the folks that participate in the cleanup effort. Every little bit helps. There's always more to be done. And as long as, we recognize these people that assisted and were happy for one day a year, just have to say thanks. And I love you, Mary Reeder, for all you do year round on the putting your effort into keeping our community a little bit cleaner. So that's it. Anything? All right, that's it. Is this just a
It was just a
placeholder?
placeholder.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With nothing further, then the time is 8:34, and the council is adjourned.